Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
No one could have known it then, but when Daytona International Speedway opened in 1959, it marked the beginning of a new era in American motorsport. As a replacement for the old beach road course a few miles to the east, the opening of the high-bank 2.5-mile Florida Tri-Oval represented the leading edge of a wave of construction of big paved speed palaces. Before Daytona, Indianapolis was the only American oval track longer than 1.25 miles, and most racing took place on dirt ovals 1 mile or less in length. From the very first Daytona 500 won by Lee Petty in a 3-way photo finish, those high banks proved a favorable venue for wide-open stock car racing. Daytona kicked off the growth of NASCAR as we know it today. Daytona International Speedway's infrastructure has grown and changed to such a degree that it would be almost unrecognizable today to someone who hasn't seen it over the last 20 years. It's an amazing motorsport facility, but one thing hasn't changed over the past 6+ decades. No driver can consider his or her career complete without notching a victory at Daytona. From Dale Earnhardt, who captured the 500 in 1998 after coming close so many times, to 14-year-old kart racers whose racing resumes are just beginning. A victory at Daytona is a mark of distinction. Tonight, it's race number 2 of the IROC Challenge Series, and it's next on Track Limits Network. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the virtual Daytona International Speedway, race number 2 of season number 9 of the IROC Challenge Series. Race details tonight: 80 laps the race, distance 200 miles to be exact, 78-degree ambient air temperature, 45% humidity, partly cloudy skies, a 2-mile-per-hour breeze. Track temperature nice and cool, 78 degrees Fahrenheit. As this track surface continues to age, handling could become a factor. We'll see if that plays out. Practice complete, qualifying complete. We are in the warm-up session as we speak. Additional race details this evening: a 60% fuel load, 2 sets of tires available over the wall, 3 total if you count what they start the race on, so we'll see who decides to go with none for the race distance, or do they bolt on rights only? Maybe a set of 4. Time will tell. Practice results from earlier on. Brian McCann fastest again. These are draft-related times. Casey Bentz matching that time to the 10,000th place. Doug Wysocki, Timmy Schofield, Brandon Mefford, Matt Kopp, Todd Kleek, Cole Owens, Newt Quick, and Zachary Kleek. That's your top 10. Best time in the warm-up of 47:22, also matched by Brian McCann. Brandon Mefford, top of the charts in the warm-up. 25-car field here tonight. This is our first broadcast here in segment 3 of the IROC Challenge Series. Drivers working with the next-gen Cup Series car. Finished up with the trucks relatively recently. But this is race number 2. We did not cover last week at Chicagoland. I heard it was actually a thrilling finish, a photo finish, side-by-side action to the start-finish line. But with all that said, it's time. Let's take a look at our starting grid. On the pole position with a lap time of 49.708 seconds, it's the 3 of Brian McCann. An outside pole, missed it by 32 thousandths of a second to 75 of Chris Wally. He's going to be tough here tonight, always quick on these super speedways. Row number 2, it's the 27 of Casey Bentz and Garrett Johnston. Row 3, Todd Kleek and Joshua Mears. Row 4 is Chris Mefford and William Tyndall. Row 5, Zachary Kleek and Brandon Mefford, the Charity Motorsports entry, the number 83. Starting 11th, it's Mike Koch in the 85. Neil Quick will start 12th. Not a big fan of this type of racing, but we'll see if he can get it done. 13th starter, it's Jason Nilgis in the 88. Cole Owens will start 14th. Timmy Schofield 15th. Billy Plong, a relative newcomer to the series, he'll start 16th. Jeffrey Seabury, also a new name in the series, starts 17th. 18th starter is Newt Quick. Matt Kopp, 19th. Doug Wysocki, 20th. Vanny Vay in the 6th will start 21st. That's a new name as well. Chuck Sweeting, 22nd. Josh Funkhauser, 23rd. 24th starter and shotgun on the field. It's the number 9 Charity Motorsports driver of Adam Benefield. Your starting grid here from Daytona International Speedway Field, taking their pace lap 1 of 1. When we get to the green flag here in just a moment. Again, race details tonight, 80 laps, 200 miles. 78 degrees outside here under the lights at Daytona. 45% humidity, partly cloudy skies, a 2-mile-per-hour breeze. Track temp, 78 degrees Fahrenheit. Again, to reiterate, 60% fuel on board, 2 sets of tires over the wall. Want to talk about fast repairs? They got 1. That's it. 3 attempts at a green-white checkered finish if it comes down to it. Late add to the field. Looks like Steven Durbin might be able to get into this field. He's registered into this session, did not take a time in qualifying. We'll see if he's able to get here in time for the green flag. I don't know if they'll extend it. Sometimes they do. If not, tough break for the 42. Chris Wally making me hungry already in the Krispy Kreme colors. Picked up some Krispy Kreme up in Erie, Pennsylvania relatively recently. Can't go wrong. Pace car is in.
Green flag.
Green flag in the air. Chris Wally out to the early lead, cuts down now in front of the 15 of Garrett Johnston. Brian McCann slips back just a bit to the 3rd, now 4th position. Joshua Mears up to third, steps on a line. Hopefully somebody goes, oh no, we got trouble behind. The 22 of Matt Kopp in the wall. Caution's out here right at the end of lap number 1. Kopp parked at the entrance of pit lane here after contact with the outside wall coming out of turn number 4. Don't know if he got turned or clipped or what happened there with the 22, but just like that, caution on the Speedway here at Daytona. Try to get a better look at this here in just a moment. And let's see. Oh, definitely some contact. Let's rewind this here, slow things down a bit. Looks like the 6 gets into the 22 of Matt Kopp. That's Vanny Vey in the 6. I hope I'm saying that right. So Kopp goes down low. One car losing connection there. That may have played a factor. And I think the 6 almost, I don't want to call him for panicking here, but it looks like a little quick panic knowing that the car up ahead, and I think that was the 11 of Cole Owens, another new name here in the series. Lost connection, blinked out. You don't want to be in the path of that driver when he comes back in. So Vey makes the hard left, but unfortunately for Matt Kopp, Kopp was there. Pretty big impact here also to the inside pit wall. That car unable to be directed left or right, just goes straight into that inside safer barrier, but puts us under the yellow flag here for the first time tonight at the end of lap number 1. Stream chats are open, folks. If you want to get in here and say hello, we do appreciate that type of interaction. So whether it's IROC TV or HBR TV, well, not HBR TV, that's the old school, but the Track Limits Network channel. Old habits are hard to break. It's been a few years. It's only been a couple of months since we switched over to this new platform, but nonetheless, jump in the chat, say hello. I know some of the drivers in this series have been known to chime in during the race, especially under cautions. I know Brian McCann's been one to text and drive while we're racing. I want to try and get another look at this here. We still have time. We're still lit up light-wise on the pace car, so we got at least a lap and a half before we got to worry about anything. So let's take another gander here. Going to back it up further again. So watch the 11 there. That's Cole Owens. He'll lose connection, disappears, and I think the 6 doesn't want to go up and fill that gap. And at the same time of Kopp, at this angle you can see it a little better. Kopp starts to come up the racetrack, opens up the wheel a bit, but the 6 is pulling hard left at the same time, not wanting to have to deal with the 11 if he happens to come back in after that netcode style issue or the connection loss. Tough way to start the race for Matt Kopp. And we got Anthony Mears in the IROC chat. Anthony, thanks for checking in. Of course, cheering on Josh Mears, who I'll invariably call Casey at some point tonight. I blame Casey Bentz for that. Speaking of Casey Bentz, he's in pit lane. Casey with the Lakeland Lakers on board his Toyota Camry TRD Pro tonight. No, it's not TRD Pro. I'm talking about trucks. I'll be all right. But Casey topping off the fuel here. Not a bad plan. I'm not sure exactly where he was at the time he decided to hit pit lane. He's had a good qualifying run. I think he started third. With that stop, he's shown in the 23rd position. So we'll line them up. We'll try it again. Pace car lights are now out as we're back to the back straightaway. Half a lap away from the restart here at Daytona. 4 laps in. It'll be lap 5 when we go back to the green. Pace car is in.
Green flag.
And there it is, green flag back in the air. Chris Wally leads him to the stripe. Brian McCann, Garrett Johnston, Todd Cleek, Brandon Mefford, the top 5. Down the back straightaway, still side by side for the top 8 positions. Chris Wally and McCann side by side for the lead. Then it's Johnston, Cleek, Mefford, Koch, Mears, and Schofield. McCann now with the nose out in front of the 45 now with Todd Cleek, the outside line, starting to progress forward just a little bit more. Only 5 cars up on the top side, but they're working well together, at least for the time being. You really could pack these guys up a little bit tighter here. That lane would move a little bit more towards the front, a little bit faster if you get more organized, but it is relatively early here at Daytona. Only 7 laps up on the timing tower, so no reason to really push the issue at this point. But McCann out in front, the 45 of Cleek on the back bumper as they head down into turn number 1. We'll see if McCann opts to stay up top or go back down in front of the 75 of Chris Wally. Wally edges back in front out of turn number 2, but the outside line starting to move forward again. Almost looks like a bit of a tandem draft here. Not quite what we saw back in the day, but a little bit of that. McCann and Cleek together, and then the 85 and 15, Koch and Johnston. On board with Brian McCann, still the battle for the race lead. He's got Chris Wally to the inside. Again, we've talked about Chris Wally a bunch, especially on these super speedways. He is hard to guard, especially when you get him towards the front. Many times, though, he'll start towards the back, try to work his way through. A little bit of a strategy change here for the 75, opting to qualify, put the car on the outside front row. I've personally battled with Chris Wally on these super speedways. Unfortunately, I came up on the short end of the stick. He won the race. I finished second. He's definitely going to be a contender as long as he can keep the fenders on that number 75. Wally, though, slips back just a bit, loses a few spots, slips in behind Tim Schofield in front of Johnston. Now the 85 of Mike Koch with the Sour Patch Kids, the watermelon flavor to the inside. Battle for the race lead. It's what makes this type of racing interesting and fun to watch. Obviously, they're reduced capacity as far as engine power is concerned. They don't run restrictor plates anymore in this series as far as the modern day Cup car is concerned, but they are detuned. There's certainly some drag disadvantages that are added to each car, so these things aren't doing 240 miles an hour down the straightaway. but it keeps them packed up. Everybody's wide open all the way around this place for the most part. You got some guys that may lift, save some fuel, three-quarter, maybe even half throttle. If they're in the draft, they can maintain that pace, save a little bit of fuel. That's a conversation for another time. I know the Cup Series in real life, saving fuel is pretty much the game. But it keeps this field packed up nice and tight. You really need to plan your run, utilize that air, utilize the draft to try to make your moves and make passes here at Daytona and Talladega especially. Want to give a call here to the 24 Jeffrey Seabury. He is up 13 positions. Now 12 as he slips to 5th, but you get the gist of things. That number 24, the white and red machine on the outside, with the 88 of Jason Nile just looking to the inside for that position. Keep a close eye on the 24, see if he can make this move pay off here by the end of this race. Back and forth, the top spot changes 3, 4, 5, 6 times just about every single lap because you can't really get a full car length ahead of your next competitor. Schofield takes a look to the inside, trying to go up the middle, or is he? No. Tucks back in behind the 85 of Mike Koch. McCann making a liar out of him. He gets a car length advantage over the inside line. Still has the 45 of Todd Kleek to the back bumper. And also now the 24 of Jeffrey Seaby up into the 4th spot. And McCann looking to the inside. Is he going to drop to the back? Thought he was going to come to pit lane for a minute, but no, not the case. Does not like the aggressiveness at the front of the field. Brian McCann going to drop from the top spot and go towards the back here. Try to save a little bit of fuel. That's going to be a factor as well. Again, a 60% fuel load on board these cars. Maybe, and I'm guessing, I didn't talk to any of the drivers pre-race tonight about the fuel window, but I'm going to guess about 20, 25 laps. So back out front now, the battle between the 88 and 45. That's Nilgis and Kleek. Neil Quick now up into the 2nd spot. We talked about him in the Open. Not a big fan of super speedway racing, but man, over the years of broadcasting, whether it's in the IROC Challenge Series or other events that we've seen Neil Quick perform in, he always does tend to run well and always be a factor towards the end. He runs now in the 2nd spot. He's up from 12th. Neil Quick in that midnight number 2 looking strong. That car's blue, actually. That'd be the Blue Deuce, folks. Sorry, not the midnight car. So top 5 now. It's Nilgis, Quick, Bentz, Adam Benefield, and the 77 of Zachary Kleek. Looks like Todd Kleek has jumped towards the back as well. Trying to find out where he ended up landing. Actually, the 9th spot, Todd Kleek in the 45. And we've got some separation now. Field is not as packed up as they were previously. Maybe pit stops getting ready to get underway. Again, I don't know 100% what the fuel window is going to be. I'm guessing 20 to 25 laps. I think a full load of fuel is about 40 laps here at Daytona in this next-gen Cup car. Jason Nilgis now with the race lead in front of Neil Quick. Quick still tucked in behind the 88. Then it's Casey Bentz, Adam Benefield, Joshua Mears now up a spot into P5. Zachary Kleek in the 77 runs 6th, just in behind. Josh Mears with a big run out of the corner, down the backstretch here, gets alongside. Adam Benefield takes the spot, or at least for a moment, gets a nose ahead of the 9. Adam Benefield way up the racetrack, giving Mears plenty of room. Mears opts to tuck back in behind, maintains that 5th position. Further back here in the 8th position, this is the second pack. We do have now 2 distinct packs. This one led by the 8 of William Tyndall and Brandon Mefford in the 83. Todd Kleek, Chuck Sweeting, Garrett Johnston, Chris Mefford, Tim Schofield, Brian McCann, Doug Wysocki. Just a handful of names. One car into the wall just a bit there. I think that might have been Brandon Mefford. It was. The 83 Charity Motorsports machine scraping the right side on the safer barrier. Didn't break his momentum, though, as he jumps to the inside. Gets along William Tyndall. He's got the 45 of Kleek on the back bumper. He's going to push him on by. Mefford now up into the 8th spot. Things unchanged here at the front of the field, though. Nile just continues to lead. Then it's Neil Quick in the 27 of Casey Bentz, Adam Benefield, and Mears. That top 5 really has not changed a bit. Now the low side, and Casey Bentz, aggressive move to the inside to block the run or pick up the other 3 cars behind him. Now there's a 5-car draft to the bottom. It's going to hang out Neil Quick and Adam Benefield. Casey jumps up in front of the 2. That's going to help pull them along, but I don't know if it's going to help him all that much. Quick's going to have to catch up to do any kind of benefit for the 36. Now Nile just maintains the lead. Bentz to 2nd. The 77 of Zachary Kleek now up to 3rd. Then it's Seabury and Benefield, the top 5. Mears looking the outside of Benefield again with Neil Quick. Just a 2-car draft there, trying to get something done here. 7 cars packed up here at the front of the field. The rest of them not too far, maybe 10, 12 car lengths in the rears. Bent steps out of line. He's going to tuck back in behind the end of this line. So Mears now to the 7th spot. Knowledge is still out in front here, putting on a show. 21 laps in at Daytona. Leads Casey Bentz, Zachary Kleek, Seabury, Benefield, Quick, Mears. That's your top 7 cars in that lead pack. And the next driver to lead the 2nd pack, that's Brandon Mefford. Then Todd Kleek, Chuck Sweeting, Chris Mefford, Doug Wysocki, and others. It's almost like we've got 2 races to watch here. The lead pack, then the 2nd pack. Doesn't mean a whole lot at this stage of the race here, though. 22 laps in of 80 laps. Again, the race distance, 200 miles. We have seen a handful of drivers crack that 200-mile-an-hour barrier. Couple of cars shuffling around. Looks like the 34, Doug Wysocki, jumped out of line just a moment in behind the 46 of Chris Mefford. He's got Brandon Mefford to the inside along with Todd Kleek. One car up ahead is a little bit slower. I think that might be the 6 machine. That's going to be Vanny Vey. Again, I hope I'm saying it right. One car below the yellow line into turn 3. Got to be careful. It's a great way to shoot yourself up the racetrack and into the fence. Got away with it this time. Vanny Vey up the racetrack. Almost gets into the safer barrier on his own. May have some damage still to that number 6 machine as he was unable to tuck back in line. He may be able to pick up the draft here, but you see, as we look a little bit closer here to the nose of that number 6 machine, still some damage. Not very aerodynamic. You see that little lip there in the middle. The hood up just a touch, going to catch a little bit of air, and the nose pushed in as well. That car not going to be aero efficient. Really needs to get tucked up behind somebody, but I think he's already too far back for that to be the case. So tough break so far for the 6 of Vanny Vey. Going to need a caution here to try and get some of those repairs affected. Meanwhile, out in front, Neil Quick has now taken over the top spot. Nilgis was the leader and got switched back to the 4th spot. So now it's Quick, Bentz, Cleek, Nilgis, and Mears. Trying to get you a replay of that pass for the race lead. In fact, here it is. Not that long ago, Quick had a run, got to the outside, had drafting help. Casey Bentz and Cleek went with him. Nobody stuck with the 88 of Nilgis, and the pass is made cleanly down into turn number 3. One car coming to pit lane. Todd Cleek. Oh, the caution's out. Caution is out. The 45 of Todd Cleek comes down pit lane. Not sure what put us under this yellow. This might actually be a competition caution. Vanny Vey comes down. Man, I really thought there was other drivers in pit lane there, but nonetheless, caution is out. And the pits were closed by the time the 45 got to pit lane. He's going to pit here nonetheless. I don't know if he's going to inflict a penalty on himself for this. Vey's going to definitely get dinged as well, but I don't think it's going to hurt him all that much. He's already lost a lap. He's just trying to get some repairs made. Meanwhile, Josh Mears now the leader. Then it's Zachary Cleek, Neil Quick, Adam Benefield, Jason Nilgis. That's the top 5. It looks like Billy Plong was the one that crashed, so let's try to get a look what happened here. Watch the one. This is the Milwaukee Tools Toyota. Well, let's try this. I don't think Billy was the cause of the caution. Ah, the 24. Still don't think that was the cause of the caution. I think this is likely our competition yellow. See, yellow was waving before Seabury got back to the racetrack. Nevertheless, pit stops affected. Some came down, some didn't. So, some more pit stops underway. Not sure how this is going to shake out with drivers coming to pit lane when the pits were closed. They are open now, and you see the rest of the field coming on down. Neil Quick, Nilgis, Casey Bentz, and the rest of the field, or the majority of them for that matter. Going to head down pit lane, get some service. Likely going to be 4 tires and fuel. Again, only 2 sets over the wall. Neil Quick with the right side in the air. Certainly going to go 4. Yes, that is the case. some drivers opting to hit pit lane while the pits were closed. I'm curious to see how this one's going to play out. There's a lot of those drivers up there for that. Of course, maybe they made it there before they closed. You never know. But with that, I know we had that first lap caution that dragged things out a bit. We went 25 to 27 laps or so here before anybody needed to head down pit lane for service. So Quick comes down as the leader. He'll come out 8th. Really, it's just a matter of who did what on their pit stop. Casey Bentz is going to be the leader. We go back to green here. Looks like to be a fuel-only stop for the 27. Chris Mefford, same story. Same for Doug Wysocki and Garrett Johnston. Brian McCann, a little bit longer in his pit box. Might have gone right sides only. He'll come out 5th. And then it's Neil Quick. Some other drivers now on pit lane. Todd Kleek, Adam Benefiel, Mike Koch, William Tyndall. Four-tire change for the 45 of Todd Kleek. Props to Jack, heads back out. Casey Bentz is going to have the advantage on pit exit. So 29 laps in here. We'll take a look at our top 10. It's Casey Bentz, Chris Mefford, Garrett Johnston, Doug Wysocki, Neil Quick, Brian McCann, Jason Niles, just Todd Kleek. We got the 9th position. That's Jeffrey Seabury. And 10th looks like Nuke Quick. So we're getting ready for a restart here. Field doubled up on the back straightaway just before the Lamar chicane. You see it here in this camera shot. Grass still remains here in the iRacing scan. I'm likely expecting that to change here in the relative near future, as they have paved a lot of that section of the racetrack after the 2023 incident with Ryan Preece violently flipping down the backstretch. All that has been paved over. Still didn't stop him from getting airborne last night, but I digress. Maybe I don't. Fun fact with that, his comments post-race about the plywood and the wind sounds like experience to me, where I'd be willing to bet half the field doesn't have any idea what he's talking about. Okay, now I digress.
Ready, green,
Pace
green,
car's in, green flag back in the air. Casey Bentz on the throttle outside. Chris Mefford. Mefford already battling now with Garrett Johnston. It seems to be the place that you don't want to be on a restart in any series. It seems the outside front row on the restart, you're just dead in the water. Johnston takes the second spot quickly. Chris Mefford jumps to the inside, in behind the 15. Brian McCann now back to the 4th spot. Bentz continues to lead. Johnston second. Brian McCann quickly up into the 3rd spot. Picks up another one here. Chris Mefford back to 4th. 5th place, Doug Wysocki. Casey Bentz out in front with the Lakeland Lakers paint scheme at the front of the field. Garrett Johnston, McCann, Chris Mefford, Doug Wysocki, the top 5. 31 laps in the books. About to cross start-finish to start lap 32. Top 6, all single file. Top 7, single file, as Neil Quick joins the back of this pack with a big-time run. He'll jump to the outside of the 77 as Zachary Cleek. Really no help to go anywhere, hoping somebody may jump out of line and help him out. Chris Mefford looks like he thought about it, but sticks to the bottom side. All this helping that second group with Jeff Seabree leading it up. Helps them reel them back in. And I don't know what happened on that restart. There's a lot of drivers that got caught out, caught behind. Johnston giving Casey Bentz a big push down the back straightaway. Puts about a half car length between the top 2 and Brian McCann in 3rd. Chris Mefford 4th. Wysocki still 5th. Then Zachary Cleek, Neil Quick, Jeff Seabree, Jason Isle, just the top 9. You see them there all in the picture. Very quickly, we've developed 2 distinct packs here at Daytona. 9 cars out front, the rest of the field in behind. Funkhauser leads that second pack. Funkhauser in the Budweiser number 81. William Tyndall running just behind. And here comes Brandon Mefford in the 4 of Newt Quick. Tell you, Tyndall has given Josh Funkhauser all he can handle here in that 10th position. Steps on the line. I don't know if he had an overheating problem, but he's way up the racetrack now trying to get some fresh air into the nose of that machine. It's going to leave Funkhauser a little bit too far out in front. Brandon Mefford has an opportunity to go to the outside or stay tucked in. He stays tucked in, still trying to decide. Tucks back up to the back of the 81. Meanwhile, the 8, William Tyndall dropping back to the tail. Back out front, Casey Bentz continues to lead. Garrett Johnston second. Brian McCann third. Chris Mefford fourth. Doug Wysocki fifth. That top 5 unchanged since the restart, with the exception of McCann getting by Chris Mefford for that third spot. Pack number 2, Funkhauser still leading that group. Brandon Mefford, Nuke, Quick, Matt Comp, Tim Schofield. Again, on board with Funkhauser, looking back now at Brandon Mefford. On board with Mefford now, looking forward to Funkhauser. This is the driver's eye camera. First time we've gone to this shot here tonight. This camera built into the helmet of the driver. Mefford just dipping those left sides to that yellow line just slightly. Oh, Mefford breaks the bubble and gets to the inside. That was not planned. Did not want to see that happen. You heard him check up just a bit, so he didn't turn the 81. Good job by the 83 to avoid chaos there down the backstretch. Out of turn number 2, Casey Benz continues to show the way over Garrett Johnston, Brian McCann, Chris Mefford, and Doug Wysocki. Things looked a little aggressive early in the running of this race, but things have settled down a bit as we're just about halfway. With that said, 41 laps go up on the timing tower. We're going to step aside here, get a side-by-side break out of the way. Stay with us. We'll be back after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
25 laps in the books. Casey Benz leads Garrett Johnston, Brian McCann, Chris Mefford, Doug Wysocki. Does that sound familiar? Not much has changed here at the front of the field. These drivers are settling in, or settled in for that matter, trying to just take care of the race car, get to the end of this one, and then battle it out, likely within 5 laps to go. Again, pit stops likely to come relatively soon here. We came last at lap 27. About 19 laps since then. Of course, we ran some caution laps in that mix as well. Kind of crossing our fingers here, hoping for an opportunity at some green flag pit stops. Watching this battle now with Josh Funkhauser still in that 14th position. He slipped back just a bit there. Jason Nilgis in the mix as well. So Funkhauser still leading Brandon Mefford and Newt Quick. Casey Benz continues to lead the race overall. Very disciplined race at this point of it. 48 laps in of 80. Drivers, for the most part, single file, front to back. Not willing to make that big move to step out of line, but you got to wonder about 27 of Casey Benz. He's out there leading this field. He is wide ass open the whole way around here, burning fuel every single lap. He's likely going to be the first driver to hit pit lane here because he's going to run out of fuel before anybody else. On board now with Garrett Johnston in the second spot. Johnston out of Kansas City, Missouri. Big time bump, more bumps down the back straightaway. Johnston's not saving fuel. In fact, I gotta wonder here if he's trying to force Casey Benz into a position where he's gonna burn more fuel than he wants. Johnston able to hit the throttle hard and then get to the back bumper of Casey Benz, kind of push him out in front, and then catch back up, push him again. Bump, bump, bump all the way through the race course. But through all that, even though Johnston seems to be faster because he's pushing to the back bumper of Casey Benz, he's not using as much throttle as Casey Benz. Because he's in the draft of another vehicle, he doesn't need to use quite as much power to do the same thing as the lead car. Looking back on things, that might have been the scenario with Brian McCann as he was getting pushed. Might have influenced the decision to drop to the back. Of course, now he's back in that third spot, content riding in that third position as he's able to sniff the draft off the top two. Top 8 all in their own relative single file line here at the front of the field, but that second pack is starting to reel them in. I don't know if it's just a matter of the numbers or if they're a little bit more disciplined, a little more organized, starting to reel these guys in. And I got to wonder here, there's a pit stop underway here. The 4 of Newt Quick's going to come down. Quick also sporting the Budweiser colors here tonight. Fuel only stop for the 4. Todd Cleek, Cole Owens also going to hit pit lane here. Cleek, a top 5 starter here tonight. And a change for the top spot. Brian McCann goes to lead as the rest of the field comes to pit lane. Casey Bentz was the leader at the time. A few drivers stay out. Brian McCann, Neil Quick, Nilgis, Schofield, Koch, Mears, Sweeting, and Tyndall. Casey Bentz, again, from the race lead, pulls Garrett Johnston, Chris Mefford, Zachary Cleek, Brandon Mefford, and others down into pit lane. So kind of as we expected, 20 to 25 laps, about that fuel window. Now we watch Brian McCann. Will the 3 make his trip down to pit lane? Nobody there with him. I think this might be a good opportunity to do just that, and he makes the left turn down pit lane. Oh, almost trouble in Schofield, trying to keep it off the wall. Smacks the inside safer barrier with the left rear, that is, of his number 12 machine. Hits the wall twice. He's going to have some repairs to be effective here as he gets to pit lane. New leader now, Chuck Sweeting, Josh Mears second. They both stay out. They're going to need to pit together the next time by, otherwise they won't have any drafting partners when they get back out on the racetrack. Meanwhile, Brian McCann finishes up his pit work, 10.58 seconds. Did not see if the right side went in the air or not. But we check on now with Chuck Sweeting, the race leader, the number 57. Started 22nd. First laps led here this evening. And will he come down now? He does. Josh Mears in the second spot. He's about 2 seconds back. He has not pit since lap 28. So we'll watch for Mears. He's going to do the same. He's to the left of that yellow line. So this will eventually be the battle for the top 3 spots, with Garrett Johnston being the top driver right now, with Casey Bentz losing effectively a position through that cycle of pit stops. And then Chris Mefford running in the 3rd position. Again, Chris Mefford, we've talked about this a whole lot here with Neil Quick about not being a big fan of super speedway racing, but Chris Mefford is, at least in my opinion, a short track racer. I mean, he can get it done on the small tracks like Martinsville or like Richmond, things like that. He is lights out at places like that. So is Brandon. Brandon's pretty good there as well, but super speedway racing, not typically the place you'd expect to see the 46 running so well. He's either put the work in, or either way, just having a strong run here tonight at Daytona as he sits in that 3rd position behind Casey Bentz and Garrett Johnston. 25 laps to go here from Daytona. Garrett Johnston now the race leader again over Casey Bentz and Chris Mefford. Doug Wysocki runs 4th and Brian McCann 5th. I want to follow up on Steve Durbin. It does not appear as though Durbin was able to take the green flag, so he'll still get credit for the 25th position, but did not effectively start this race. Vanny Vey, again, hopefully I'm saying that right, the driver of that number 6 machine, he has since taken it to the garage. He'll finish tonight in the 24th position as he is effectively out of this race after that early incident with Matt Kopp. 24 of Jeff Seabury there, right to the back bumper of Mike Koch. Sorry, Chuck Sweeting, that is. Now Seabury up top of the racetrack here alongside Matt Kopp. Still watching this battle here. This is the second pack. Nuke Quick in the 10th spot in that number 4. Then the 12 is Schofield right to that back bumper. Got to be careful. Got to keep those pushes square. Brandon Mefford now at the back of this lead group. We've got a couple of different packs now. So you watch the Nuke Quick battle. This is now up to Brandon Mefford in 9th as he runs behind Jason Nilgis. Brian McCann in the 5th spot. He's the lead car in this group. Not that far back, though, from the top 3 drivers, top 4 that is. One driver stepping out of line. Might be some lap down cars. In fact, that is Adam Benefiel and Billy Plong. So McCann runs now 4th. Neil Quick in the 5th spot. But the race leader is much further ahead here, about 10, 15 car lengths up. The top 3 still together here. That's Johnston Bentz and Chris Mefford. 20 laps remain. Top 3 drivers really checking out now. Let's go on board here with Chris Mefford and look out the rear view at the distance back to the 4th spot to Brian McCann and Neil Quick and others. Big time gap back to the 4th spot. 2.5 seconds back to Brian McCann. That is a hefty margin. Very difficult to make up if those guys don't get linked up and draft and try to really work together to catch those top 3. But if you look closely here at those top 3 drivers, Johnston, Bentz, and Chris Mefford, they've been reasonably in line, single file here, just trying to make sure they can run away from those guys, settle this down between the top 3. They don't have to worry about the rest of the field if this thing goes green all the way to the end. But you go back here, Brian McCann leading Neil Quick, Zachary Cleek, Jason Nilgis, Brandon Mefford, and Doug Wysocki. If they get lined up nose to tail, just a couple of inches bumper to bumper to bumper to bumper to bumper to bumper, they really could reel in those top 3 drivers. It's going to take some time, and with 18 to go, I just don't know if they have enough time to do that without a caution. They're going to need those top 3 drivers to start getting racy for that to work. Again, in the IROC chat, we've got a new one here. Shane Irby says, "Go, Bentz, go." Bentz running in that 2nd spot here in the number 27. And we've got the track limits chat as well. I just got into iRacing. I'm obsessed. Never thought I'd like short track as much as I do. Well, CR Garage, I'm glad you're here, man. I appreciate you checking in to say hello. I'm glad you found us, to be honest. But that's just how it is, man. I've been doing this since early 2020, just before the pandemic hit, and well, I'm addicted, and somehow I've turned it into a business. But either way, glad you're here. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned, man. It's going to get good. Still watching this second pack here with Brian McCann leading, and it does seem as if they're starting to catch those top three. We'll look at it again here. Now it really doesn't look a whole lot better. It is. It's amazing how different it looks. Last time we checked, it was 2.5 seconds, and it looked like about the same distance as far as the visual from this camera, but it's 1.46 back to Brian McCann from third place, Chris Mefford. So 16 laps to go. They cut down another second. That second pack's going to pick up the draft here, going to be able to run these guys down, and they'll be a factor before it's over if we stay green to the end. They just have to stay organized, work together, and reel these guys in. It's still a 1.5 seconds now back to the 4th spot.
Spin.
And caution's out. We got trouble on the speedway.
You doing there, bud?
Chris Wally in trouble was strong early outside pole sitter, but Chris Wally with a problem. I'm not sure exactly what happened. It looks like Wally is just leaving the pit lane. I'm not sure what happened here with the 75. Let's see if we can get a look at it. I don't show any indication here in my data that shows a crash, but let's see if we can pick this up. Ah, there it is here at the Tri-Oval. Few drivers involved. Funkhauser, one of them. William Tyndall, Chris Wally. We'll go back a little further and see how it happened. All right, so watch it a little closer here. The 8 of Tyndall behind Chris Wally in the 75. Bit of a bump draft on exit. That's a tough place to pick up a bump draft. It does cross Wally up a bit. Now gets Tyndall off center, so now you're pushing from the wrong part of the car. He does get square again, but goes back to the right side. And I think this is where it's going to happen. Yeah, he gets alongside Wally just enough and hooks him right up into the wall while he comes back down in front of Tyndall and then effectively in front of Josh Funkhauser, and then the rest is history. So caution number 3. Of course, we had our legitimate caution on lap number 1, then our comp caution, and now legitimate caution number 3 with 14 laps to go. Pit stops underway. This will effectively be the final stops of the night. Everybody can make it on fuel from here on in. Casey Bentz, Johnston, Brian McCann, all in the pit box. Fuel only for a lot of the drivers, not worried about those tires. We got Shane Irby in the chat yet again, says shaping 10ths every lap. It will be close. I think that was prior to the caution. That's going to make things really exciting. Oh, there you go. Yeah, Shane Irby says, well, caution ruined that run. 100%. So with that pit stop, Casey Bentz does leapfrog Garrett Johnston. So 27 is going to be our race leader here as we get the restart. We're going to get the 1 to go, I think, the next time by. So it'll be 11 laps remaining when we go back racing. Well, we have the opportunity. I want to thank everybody for joining the broadcast here tonight. I know we've covered the IROC Challenge Series here for quite a while now, but some changes have occurred throughout this league here. We're only broadcasting on a limited basis now. Daytona is certainly an important race, a fun one usually to watch. I'm glad you guys are here to do that. But while you're here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. We're sitting on 975 subscribers right now, trying to crack that 1,000 subscriber mark. Doesn't really do a whole lot for us, I don't think. I don't really pay too much attention to those YouTube policies, but it's kind of bragging rights more than anything. We appreciate you guys being here each and every week, but 1,000 subscribers would be great to have, great to talk about, great to boast about. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Of course, if you hit it again and you did previously, it's just going to take it away, so don't do that. But along those lines of the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, hit the like button. That'll help us push this video out to some wider audiences, get some fresh eyeballs, not only on the channel, but also on this series. Track some new drivers. It's a win-win across the board. And again, it doesn't cost you guys, the viewers, a nickel, a penny, nothing. I say nickel just because pennies are going away, I guess. But again, big thanks to Anthony Mears, Shane Irby, and CR Garage for chiming into the chat tonight. If you guys haven't already said hello in the chat, please feel free to do so. Check in, say hello, where you're watching from, who you're cheering for. If you're just here by chance because it showed up in your For You page or whatever you want to call it. But there we have it. 12 laps to go. Pace car lights are out, so 11 laps to go will be our restart. Casey Bentz, Garrett Johnston will be the front row. Row 2, McCann and Quick. Still trying to figure out if it's going to be Nuke Quick or Neil Quick. Looks like Nuke Quick will be to the outside of row 2. The inside of row 3 will be Neil Quick, and then Chuck Sweeting to the outside of row 3. Pace car makes the left turn down pit lane.
Green flag.
And there it is. Barney with the green in hand. Green flag waves. We're back underway. 11 laps to go. CR Garage in the chat says, you got me. Nice to see you have events scheduled. Do a great job. Wish I could have gotten when the race started. Appreciate you being here, man. Really, really do. Stick around. 11 to go. It's going to be a fun one. Casey Benson, we got trouble. Doug Wysocki in the fence. Caution on the speedway here. Big time trouble on the backstretch entering turn number 3. Wysocki in trouble. The 45 of Todd Cleek thought he had it cleared. He was down all the way in the grass. Still makes some contact there with the 34. Little late here in the replay. We'll back it up again. We'll zoom in just a touch. Watch the 34 here, and then the 12. Wysocki just inching out to the right side, trying to look around the 4, but there was a 12 there to the right side. They both get into the wall. And then here's the rest of the field trying to get through this. Schofield gets nailed. So caution number 4 now, 10 laps to go. Well, caution number 4 on the Speedway coming to 9 laps to go here. We're going to take a break. We'll step aside. Stay with us. It's going to get better. It's going to get exciting. I promise. But we're going to be right back. Stick around.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
Back at Daytona, 8 laps remain. It'll be 7 laps to go when we get the green flag. Still not quite to the green-white checkered territory, but again, we do have 3 opportunities at that if necessary. Been a reasonably clean race up to this point. Your front row is going to be Casey Benson, Garrett Johnston. Then row 2 will be Brian McCann and Neil Quick. Some drivers with some serious experience, especially here on the sim. Said it quite a bit here, but Neil Quick, not a big fan of super speedway racing, but always tends to be in the mix late. Very good at taking care of the race car, making sure he keeps the fenders on the thing, makes it competitive all the way to the end. Got Ken Couch in the chat. He says, never fails. Last few laps are always a mess in any league. Good luck, gentlemen, especially at Daytona. Ken, thanks for checking in, man. Looking forward to tomorrow night in the Numb Thumbs Racing League. Green flag in the air here tonight at IROC. Casey Benz with the jump. Brian McCann to the inside with Garrett Johnston up top. Neil Quick tucks in behind the 15. Do they get single file? No, Johnston jumps to the bottom there. Quick sticks around to the outside. Now the 46 of Chris Mefford sticks with the 2 of Neil Quick. We'll see if they can make anything happen here. The top 2 starting to get away just a touch there. Johnston now in 3rd, a couple of car lengths back from Brian McCann and Casey Benz. Benz really been the dominant car here tonight. Benz leads them back to the stripe. The outside line, though, it's Neil Quick and Chris Mefford. And also, here comes the 77 of Zachary Cleek. The outside line coming together here, getting organized. Neil Quick gets shuffled to the middle for a moment, but Chris Mefford jumps to the back bumper yet again to help push the 2 to the race lead. Not quite there yet. Out of turn number 2. Will he have the run? Side by side for the race lead into turns 3 and 4. Casey Benz jumps out in front just a bit now. The side-by-side battles for second. Neil Quick to the outside of Brian McCann. Chris Mefford pushing. They get off center for just a moment. They straighten back out. Everything's fine there for the time being. Back to start finish. Coming to 5 laps to go. Casey Benz continues to lead, but Brian McCann all over the back bumper. The 27 is ahead down to turn number 1. Outside line not anywhere near as organized as it once was. Neil Quick slips back to the 9th position. That battle for the race lead quickly evaporating. Back to the stripe, 4 laps to go. It's Benz, McCann, Johnston, Sweeting in 4th, and Josh Mears 5th. Mears now jumps to the inside of Chuck Sweeting, looking to take that spot and continued his march towards the front. Sweeting to the outside with no help. He's going to drop back just a bit. Mears now to 4th. Chris Mefford to 5th. Zachary Cleek running in the 6th spot. We've got trouble. Matt Kopp stationary and it just goes right to pit lane. We stay green. No issue there. Definitely a problem out on the racetrack, though. We'll take a quick look at it. Backing up quickly here. Matt Kopp getting hooked by the 8 of William Tyndall. Looks like a racing deal to me, but we stay green, so we won't dwell on it too long. Back out front, Casey Benz still the leader with 3 laps to go. Brian McCann in 2nd. Garrett Johnston 3rd by a nose. Joshua Mears to the outside, and then Chris Mefford there in the 46th, now in the 4th spot. Oh, contact with Garrett Johnston, and he hangs on to it. Unbelievable. Ben still with the lead, a side-by-side battle, and Garrett Johnston saves it a second time just a lap later. Unbelievable save by the 15 of Garrett Johnston. How he didn't end up wrecking the whole field, I'll never know. But back out front now, things have changed. Josh Mears to the outside. He takes the race lead off the nose of Jason Nologis. 2 laps to go, and business has picked up. Casey Benz back to third. Neil Quick runs in the 4th position. Brian McCann 5th. That switches now McCann up to 4th. No way we make it to the end of this thing without a caution. Top 4 single file. Bumper to bumper to bumper to bumper. One driver in the fence. Turn 3 and 4. We continue to stay green. They just got to get to that white flag. We won't need to worry about those green-white checkers. Here they go into the tri-oval one more time. White flag in the air. Final lap now for the 36 of Josh Mears. Top 6 all in a row here at the front of the field. Who's going to step out? Who's going to make a move? Who's going to try and take this lead? Mears started in the 6th position while they wreck behind. Down the back straightaway for the final time. Here it is. The 36 trying to block, goes to the outside. Nile just trying to make a move here. Brian McCann to the inside. So does the Brady 3 of Brandon Mefford here. They're both below the yellow line. I don't know if it's going to stand, but as it stands right now, Brian McCann with the race lead over Brandon Mefford and Josh Mears. That's the top 3, but I don't know how this one's going to play out. Coming back to the start-finish line, into the tri-oval, checkered flag in the air, and Brian McCann will cross the line first. Man, oh man, what a crazy last couple of laps. McCann led him to the stripe, but I just don't know if that's going to stand. He went way below the yellow line to make that pass. I don't know if he was forced there or not, but nevertheless, Brian McCann across start-finish line first. I don't know if we've got an admin that's going to be able to look at this here quickly enough, but we're going to call it how it is. We're certainly going to step aside to get confirmation. Wow. I will say, these guys had the discipline here tonight. They put on a show at the very bitter end. I gotta say, Brian McCann is certainly not going to wait for the officials to make a call. He thinks he's won this. He's going to do the donuts. He's going to celebrate here at start-finish. Top 3, at least unofficially, Brian McCann, Brandon Mefford, Josh Mears. Doing his best to rip up the infield grass. So with that, we're going to step aside here. We'll get a quick break out of the way. Hopefully I can get some confirmation here from the race officials here to see exactly if Brian McCann's going to be credited with that race win here. They went way below that yellow line. I know Brian McCann and Brandon Mefford for sure, but hopefully we have that figured out for you guys when we get back. Stay with us. We'll be back.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
Back at Daytona International Speedway, Brian McCann with the race win from pole position. A thrilling finish here at Daytona. Brian McCann made a move to the inside, had to avoid the wreck, gets below the inside line. Typically, that's a no-no, and you can't do that sort of thing, but he ends up jumping up to the race lead, had to avoid a crash, so the race officials are declaring the race winner here. We'll get Brian McCann up in the broadcast booth here, get a word with our race winner. Brian, it's Steve with Track Limits. You got us?
Hey, I do.
Brian, congratulations, man. A pole position run in qualifying. You led some laps early, quickly dropped to the back. Didn't like what you saw, but at the end of this thing here, avoiding some chaos there in the backstretch on the final lap, you crossed that line first, man. Walk us through your race. What did it look like there on the back straightaway?
Back straightaway, last lap. Oh, we were, I think it was me and Casey, 27 car. Yeah. We had some steam on that outside line. You know, we were going to go around those two leaders, and I think they knew that too. So one of them pulled up, and then the other one pulled up, and I saw that happen, and I was like, yeah, that's going to be a massive checkup. So I pulled left, and there was a checkup. I heard him hitting the wall, and I thought one was going to come down and get me. So I started originally dodging the 27, and then the other car out in the lead, he started coming down too, and I thought he was going to spin across my nose, but I don't know if he saved it or what, but yeah, put us below the yellow. I'm not sure how Wally's going to call that one, but that was a heck of a finish there. Either way, however it goes, it was fun.
Well, we did check with the race officials here on this before we got to the interview portion of tonight's broadcast. You are officially the race winner. You were avoiding the incident there down the back straightaway, so you are the race winner. There's no issue there. Top three is what it is. So, Brian, congratulations on the race win here at Daytona. We got to ask you about next week, though, rolling forward here. We're into the road course at Sonoma Raceway. I know you've typically run pretty damn well there. What's your thoughts about making it another win next week?
I haven't raced this car on that track in a while, I think, but I did learn some, I don't know if you want to call it secrets or just how to drive this car here recently, and I love road courses in this car now, so hopefully I can take that and apply it to Sonoma and turn some laps.
Certainly looking forward to it, Brian. Congratulations on the race win, a thrilling finish here at Daytona. Who do you want to thank before I let you go?
Yeah, my family, you for doing the broadcast, amazing job. Wally and everybody who helps out on the league, sponsors, drivers for showing up. We had a good turnout here tonight, 25 cars, amazing race, and everybody watching, thank you.
Well, thanks for talking to us, Brian. Good luck next week in Sonoma. That's Brian McCann, your race winner here at Daytona. Next, we're going to talk to runner-up Brandon Mefford. Didn't hear a ton from Brian Mefford here in the number 83 machine here tonight. Started back in the 10th spot. The number 83 worked his way up towards the front, survived the incident on the back straightaway. Brandon, it's Steve at Track Limits. You got me?
Yeah, I got you, Steve.
Brandon, congratulations. Runner-up finish here at Daytona. I know obviously the win is always the better place to be, but second place not too shabby. You didn't make a whole lot of noise here tonight. You were back in that second pack a lot of the evening, but you were there when it counted with an opportunity to take this race win from Brian McCann. Chaos ensued on the back straightaway. Walk us through the perspective of that number 83 down the back straightaway into turn number 3 on that final lap.
Yeah, it got crazy. There was a bunch of speed we had built up there, and I don't know who the drivers were, but somebody pulled up in front of somebody, and Brian and I both had the same idea. Somebody was going to crash, so we hit the bottom, and they shoved us down there by the yellow line. But it was last lap. We weren't lifting. I was going to push Brian all the way, and maybe if I got a little bit of steam, I was going to try to go by him, but I was losing steam until I think Casey got there and gave me a good push and made sure I got second there, and we'll take it.
Certainly a job well done, as we typically see out of the Meffords, especially yourself and your brother Chris. Chris was up in that top 5 quite a bit here tonight, but you ultimately come home in that second position. Next week, though, Sonoma Raceway. Not sure if we're going to get an opportunity to broadcast that one, but either way, road course racing. I know you guys don't typically enjoy that sort of thing, but what are your thoughts rolling in the Sonoma Raceway in this next-gen Cup car?
I can't say I remember racing the road course in these when we ran them back a couple seasons ago, but I'll show up, I'll give it my best. I'm sure my brother and Brian and some of these ringers are going to put on a show for the fans, and biggest thing is just get some points, keep myself up there towards the top going into the chase, and just finish where we finish. You know me and them road courses, they don't like me.
Fair enough, Brandon. Congratulations on a runner-up finish here at Daytona. Who do you want to shout out to before I let you go?
Yeah, just shout out to everybody to keep showing up. I did a little something different this year, and we've got the drivers here, so that's fun. Thanks to Chris for doing his thing. Steve, thanks for coming out here. I know we're having a little issue with getting some broadcasts done, but nonetheless, you're here, so thanks to you and your team that puts these things together. And then, my charity motorsports teammates, we always race for a good cause. We got Zoe's place on the car, so always proud to be supporting them, and everybody watching the stream, and then my family for letting me do this.
Well, Brandon, you guys are family as far as I'm concerned, so I'm happy to do it. Put on a good show here tonight. Congratulations on that second place finish, and good luck next week on the road course.
Thanks, Steve. Hope to see you soon, bud.
Brandon Mefford, your runner-up here at Daytona International. We'll talk to our third place finisher now, Joshua Mears in that number 36. Started in the 6th position, was really battling there at the front of this field quite a bit. In fact, I don't know if we have Joshua Mears. He was in the waiting room a moment ago. We may have lost him. So, unfortunately, we're going to bail on Josh Mears, but a strong run by the 36 Craftsman Tools machine here tonight. Finishing in that 3rd spot again, as we said, started in that 6th position. Drove it up through here, avoided the wreck on that last lap. A solid run out of that 36 machine. So let's take a look here at our race results for tonight. Of course, we talked to our top 2. Unfortunately, we did not get Joshua Mears. It was Brian McCann, Brandon Mefford, Josh Mears, Casey Bentz finished in the 4th spot. Strong run by him here tonight. The number 27 led a bunch of laps this evening for sure. 5th place was Jason Nalgis. He led for a time as well. Adam Benefiel finished in the 6th spot. 7th was Garrett Johnston. 8th place, Chris Mefford in the top 5 quite a bit here this evening. Top 3 really for the 46. Zachary Cleek was 9th. 10th place was Jeffrey Seabury. 11th, Doug Wysocki. 12th, Mike Koch. Cole Owens was 13th. Nuke Quick finished in the 14th spot. Chuck Sweeting 15th. William Tyndall was 16th. Neil Quick, not the finish he expected to have here tonight. Last car on the lead lap in the 17th spot. Todd Cleek was the 18th place finisher. 19th was Matt Kopp. Early issues for the 22, but he stuck with it. Billy Plong was 20th. 21st, Chris Wally. Tim Schofield finishes 22nd. 23rd, Josh Funkhauser. Vanny Vay, 24th. And last but not least, did not take the green, Steve Durbin, credited with the 25th place finishing position. That'll do it for us for here at Daytona International. Race 2 of the IROC Challenge Series segment number 3. Again, they're going to be at Sonoma Raceway next week. I do not believe we've got the broadcast for that next week, but I'll tell you, if we get a last-minute ad, we're going to make sure we get it done because you know how Track Limits likes the road courses. With all that said, again, I'm Steve Singer congratulating Brian McCann on a strong race win here tonight. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Late stream chatters as well. Some new faces. Also, CR Garage on the Track Limits broadcast. Shane Irby, I think that might be a new name as well, cheering on Casey Bentz here tonight. Of course, Anthony Mears checking in also. Thank you guys certainly for at least saying hello at the very bare minimum here in the stream chat. It's always a positive thing. But thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good night.